important that we've been able to reach agreement with the movement of 2 tracks, and the public will benefit to the tune of $150 million. I mean, it's really great news. I know that the Youngstown folks, I know Schiavone, for example, I mean, he called every single day to ask about this, and Youngstown sees this as an opportunity for them to have more growth and an asset that they think is important to their community. So I'm really excited that they're going to be able to get this track. We'd worked on it for a long time, but we didn't want to give away the store in terms of what you pay to move these tracks. So it'll be a win-win. Youngstown will get the track, the taxpayers will get more money, and we'll move forward. And I think it's a good positive result. We also have some good news today on we're going to go off of negative watch from Moody's, which is really fantastic. We'll be offering some debt, so they had to do an analysis, and Tim Keene and his team and John Miner from Jobs Ohio and I by telephone communicated to Moody's the depth and the breadth of the recovery. A lot of people, what Moody's thought was, we're a manufacturing state. Yeah, we are manufacturing, but we're a lot of other things, of course, including energy and medicine and advanced materials, logistics. So I think we're starting to communicate an idea that Ohio is broad and has great diversity when it comes to economic development, which was the single thing that I think that Moody's was concerned about. So that's good news as well. And Ohio State won last night, so that's good news as well. And OU, and who knows? I mean, maybe we'll see Ohio State and OU in the Final Four. Never know. Okay.
Governor, did Moody's give any particular reason for taking off negative watch?
This is actually supposed to be on embargo till 1, but you're all here, so I think you ought to talk to Keene. I haven't seen the results. He came to cabinet today, and he was sitting in there patiently, and then he says, "Oh, and by the way, Moody's, it was his little trick. So you should call him and ask him what I think. I don't know if they ever make a statement like that." But, we were conservative in our revenue projections, so that's working out for us. And I happen to believe, because I've been up there a couple times with them, and we'll go back at the end of the fiscal year, I think the ability to show them that Ohio's not a one-trick pony matters. Because, there's a sense on Wall Street or wherever that, Ohio's just manufacturing cars, autos. And autos are important to us, but it's not just autos that works in Ohio. And I think being able to explain the diversity of business is helpful here. But you'll have to ask Tim's view of it.
Are there other racetracks? Are they set up like Lebanon and this or that?
I don't know. Where does that stand?
Lebanon has a free move. They're able to move their track. There may be other track moves coming. We're still working on it. It's still not decided.
But what's really interesting about this is when it's like so many other things that we said couldn't be done. You remember we wanted to get more money out of the casinos, and people said, "Well, you can't do that. How could you ever do that?" That's not really a really good thing to do because they passed a constitutional amendment. How would you ever do it? And I think now we're up to over $300 million in what we were able to get as a result of being persistent and following the right policy. And I'm very hopeful that at the end of the day that every Ohioan is going to receive an income tax cut, and that small businesses can benefit from from the updated severance tax. Somebody, by the way, is going to take advantage of the low taxes. Either investors in Texas or China or wherever with these oil companies are going to get the break, or Ohioans are going to get the break. And I think that we have a plan that keeps us very competitive, that can really help Ohio's economic growth well into the future. So I'm really pleased about what we're hearing from the public about the need to do this. And the idea of every year being able to have a significant installment in reducing the income tax. If you talk to the people at Jobs Ohio, they will tell you that this is really fantastic for entrepreneurs, the ability to grow jobs in our state. And I know that one of the companies has said that they expect to take, this is what I heard this morning, they expect to take $1 trillion worth of value out of the ground here. okay? And if we can capture some of that $1 trillion before they take it away and take it to Texas and Oklahoma and the rest of the country through their investors and their officers of their companies, think about what that could mean in terms of our ability to be more competitive as a state and drive even more success economically. So,
How do you stand on Mayor Jackson and getting his plan?
I've said everything that I need to say about it. I was in Cleveland yesterday. The Plain Dealer has a story, and I just think saying any more now is not going to help us get across the finish line. So everybody knows what I think and where I stand on this, and I'm just going to let them do their job.
Do you remain confident that you will get across that finish line?
Well, I asked the congregation last Sunday in church to pray, so we'll see.
Sometimes God says no.
He does. Sometimes he's told me no a number of times, and I didn't like it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Governor, the new regs for underground injection wells include tracers to track the shipments. Is this, pretty much all Ohio can do with the Interstate Commerce Clause in terms of trying to, follow where this brine is coming from?
You mean on the injection wells?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think they're continuing to work on what we can do with injection wells. And as you know, we're even looking at new technologies that might be able to clean this water, other ways in which we can do it. We are limited by what we can do because of the Interstate Commerce Clause, but there may be some other things that they're looking at that would allow us to be in a position to, if people want to take advantage of Ohio, then we need to make sure that we have a fair system in the state without getting hauled into some court or something on the Interstate Commerce Clause. What I will tell you is, I went to the basketball game with the President and the Prime Minister, and I told the President that all of the rules and the regulations that we're putting together regarding fracking could serve as a national model as to how to proceed to be environmentally sound and yet still create jobs. We don't want to get ourselves in a position of where we sacrifice the environment for job growth, and I don't think we have to. My concern right now are these orphan wells. We got somebody says as many as 1,000, 2,000 of these orphan wells, and they can leak into the groundwater. So I've asked Director Zeringer to start cementing these things, closing them up, because if you get leakage into the groundwater, we want to make sure that it's not going to be the fact that we have fracking that's done this. And so we got to move on a lot of different fronts. The well construction for the companies as we begin to horizontally operate is something that we think is really important. But I told Jack Lew, the Chief of Staff, and the President himself that I think we've got pretty good regs out here. Okay.
Full disclosure of the chemicals that are going in the ground.
That's in our bill as well. Full disclosure.
Is that public or just to the regulators?
I don't. Yeah, and the other thing about that is there are and Daryl, I don't know enough about this, but apparently there are some proprietary fluids that can be used that can be more effective at fracking, and I think there's also a way in which, if they have some proprietary secret that could advance the process, they've got to have a little bit of protection. This is what I heard from the governor of Colorado, who's done this, but we certainly want people to know what the heck is going on here in the most transparent way that's possible. And the way I understand it is the public will find out, they'll have to disclose. In terms of what I've just said, I don't even know if that's accounted for in this, but
I have something I can get to you on it.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to get told.
Yeah, we want people to know what's in there, what's happening. I mean, full disclosure and transparency. I don't know why you wouldn't really want to hide anything on this. You'd want to let people know how this process is working, because what the companies tell me is this could be, if this works the right way. And look, we got a $900 million investment from Chesapeake the other day, on top of the $500 million investment from Mark West. And, they're not going to be making these investments if they don't think they've got core samples that are showing, but they haven't done enough core sampling throughout the whole area. And so, that's kind of the situation. On the cracker itself, I never really anticipated we would get that. We have made strong pitches. I've been to Houston. I met with the company a number of times. But what it gets down to is, controlling your own feedstock. And in Pennsylvania, they have a significant amount of ownership, so they can control their feedstock. If they had to come here, you would have had an issue with the pipeline. They don't control their feedstock because they don't have large holdings here. But I hope it comes in the Midwest, because if it comes in the Midwest, all of the Midwest will benefit. So, but with the fractionators, the processors, and everything else, I feel really terrific about what's happening. And but the other thing is, even if you know there's oil in the ground, the question is, can you make it flow? Because you can have the oil, but can it flow? Now, that's not at the end. If they can't make it flow right now, because it's the pressure that pushes the oil up, or the liquids. If you don't have it, at some point we will, because the technology in this industry is advancing so quickly that we've got great opportunity, but we'll see. The other thing is, we should not be a one-trick pony. For Ohio to build its economic future on the basis of energy would be a mistake, the same way that we shouldn't have built it on cars or we shouldn't build it on steel. We need diversity in all of our regions, and we don't want to have all of our eggs in one basket. So anyway, enough said, I've got to go.